playing with other people is way more fun than playing with yourself. Play really is the most effective non-medication treatment for managing the symptoms of ADHD.
Interesting.
I want you to think about what kind of exercise really helps with managing that.
ADHD Rewired, episode number 26. This is the show designed to help those of us who have really good intentions and a slightly wandering attention. Whether you have ADHD and you want to learn more about it, or you are looking for ways to organize your time, your things, or the many details of life so you can get more done, this show is for you. My name is Eric Tivers. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, coach, and consultant. We know that starting can be the hardest part, so let's get started with another episode from the ADA conference with my guest, Kirsten, Milliken. But first, my friends over at Audible let me know that some of you guys are really enjoying the free audiobook download and 30-day free trial that they're offering our community. Have you got your free download yet? Go to audibletrial.com/ADHD Rewired. audibletrial.com/ADHD Rewired. A quick note to our more sensitive listeners. If this episode were a movie, it might get a PG-13 rating. Although I've seen some of the stuff they're now calling PG-13, and that's not what they called PG-13 when I was a kid. This pre-show intro is brought to you by my friend Deb Rowley, who shared with me that I talk way too much at the beginning of the episodes. Deb, thank you for your honest feedback. You're a good friend, and I appreciate it. But I have a few things I need to tell you, so I will try to speak quickly. Last week or 2 weeks ago, I said that there were only 2 interviews left from the ADA conference to share. I was actually wrong. There's one more that I forgot about, that I only remembered about from listening to this interview. The other thing, stay tuned to the very end. Since this episode is all about play, I thought this would be a great episode to share with you what I played at the ADA talent show, when I had no idea what I was even going to do when I stepped up on stage in front of that keyboard. You're listening to part of it now, but hear the rest of it at the end of the episode. I am sitting down with Dr. Kirsten Milliken, and I'm getting this great look like you're actually saying it like that. Because I was just telling her that as soon as I'm introducing someone on the podcast, the part of my brain that wants to give me that information, it decides to go and break. So we rehearsed the name a few times, and she wanted to make sure that I said doctor, because I didn't realize that you're a clinical psychologist, right?
I am.
And which I thought was so cool because I've ran into you so many times, and I thought that you're a coach,
right? And
to learn that you're actually a doctor, I was like, whoa, that's kind of cool.
What was it about that surprised you?
Your purple hair.
Purple hair?
The tattoos.
Nobody told me. Oh my God, and the tattoos.
And I don't know why being incredibly tall would have anything to do with that, but just the whole
doctors are usually short.
Yeah, you just kind of present as this confident badass, and to learn that you're actually a doctor. I thought that was pretty.
That's the best compliment I've gotten. A confident badass. I love that. I want to use that on my website.
You absolutely can. I forgot that I'm supposed to ask you verbal permission if I can use this on my podcast, and if I make $1 billion off of this, that you're not going to come after me for money. Do you agree to that?
As long as I can have a link on my website, we're good.
Absolutely. I'll give you 3 links on your website.
You're good to me.
Oh, it's legal stuff. I was talking with Jeff Copper, and
one of my favorite people.
Yes, and I kind of interrupted him. I thought because I have a microphone, it would be socially appropriate to interrupt him, and he was talking to Russell Ramsey, and so I thought I'd just to say hi.
Wow, you have balls.
And but so after I talked to him, it totally took my balls away, because he's like, "So are you getting releases from people?" And I was like, "Oh, I probably should be doing that, shouldn't I?"
Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him. We came up with a better solution, you, me, and Ari, right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
So So I'm trying to cover all the bases.
You're good.
All right. So, Kirsten, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I am a psychologist and a certified ADHD coach. and a mom and a dog owner and, a bunch of other things. I live in Portland, Maine with my kids and my dogs. And
how many kids do you have?
I have 2 boys. They're fabulous, Oliver and Harris. And I have a couple of companies. So one of my companies is ADHD Executive Coaching, which you can imagine I'm working with people around executive functions and coaching them. And then my other company is Play ADHD, and that's likely the website that you were looking at was Play ADHD. And that whole website is built around my premise that play really is the most effective non-medication treatment for managing the symptoms of ADHD.
Interesting. So you're claiming that to be the most
non-medication.
More than exercise.
More than exercise.
Okay. Sell me on it.
And let me just say that exercise absolutely helps with managing ADHD, but I want you to think about what kind of exercise really helps with managing that.
Cardio.
The best. Well, not even just necessarily that, but so if you are just on a treadmill and running, and you run, however long you run, you're going to get the benefits of the exercise from it, right? And it has a certain effect on the chemicals in your body and all those good things that help you to focus and feel calm and all of that stuff, right? But if you say play a game of dodgeball with your friends, and say you play it enough to get the same caloric benefit, you're probably going to get more benefit from that game of dodgeball than you did running.
Sure. No.
And can you
no
imagine
doubt.
why, though?
The social endorphins.
Exactly. You've released more chemicals into your system because you're enjoying yourself. That joy releases more dopamine, endorphins, all of those good things, which help you to focus even more, and they're going to last in your system even longer.
So let me ask you this. So I'm right there with you.
Yep.
So with all of our busy schedules and, maybe not having the best time management skills, getting some exercise is always better than no exercise.
Absolutely.
So, even on days where I woke up a little bit later than I wanted to, or my brain just decided that I wanted to keep sleeping even though I was awake, so I'm just kind of going through the motions, I'll still, get on my bike for 15 minutes, even if that's all the time I have,
now,
just to...
Do you listen to music when you're on your bike or when you're...
I go between listening to podcasts and listening to music, and I know when I listen to music, my exercise is way better.
Exactly. Especially if you're listening to music that you really enjoy. Like if you've made that playlist of your favorite songs and you kind of get into it, I know I run a little bit faster. I feel a little more energetic.
Have you heard of the podcast Podrunner?
I have, yep.
Yeah,
exactly.
it's a
They've
great,
got some great
and they have the interval training one, so it gives you that time, at a certain beats per minute, and then it shifts.
It's one of the reasons that I love going to CrossFit now, because they're always playing high energy, fun music when we're doing our workouts. And so even if I feel like I'm dragging, if I just start focusing on what I'm listening to instead of how many more repetitions I've got to do, I can get going. And
it's kind of like chasing the shiny object in a sense.
Yeah.
It gives us something very concrete to focus on.
Yeah.
Because I often, when during the wintertime, when I'm on my exercise bike, I do a lot of reading, and I really enjoy doing that. And I'll occasionally switch from doing that to listening to music. And when I do that switch, I realize how much I was not pushing myself when I was reading.
Right. But you were at least on the bike.
Yes. And
you were getting the benefit of learning something, maybe.
Yes.
So there's always a trade-off.
Because I was just thinking how, if I can roll out of bed and go play dodgeball with people, that'd be awesome. But that's just not happening because I don't live in a place that's possible.
Well, that was just one example. Some people really feed off of having more of those social interactions and playing in that way where you're really immersing yourself in it. You're not thinking about I've got to do this for 30 minutes and I've got, the goal. You're focusing on the goal of getting it done. Instead, you're focusing on the process of enjoying it, which is really what being playful is all about. It's about being in the moment.
Have you heard of the app? I think it's called Zombie Run.
No.
That it uses, your GPS for the fitness components, but it has like a kind of a role-playing component to it where, so in your earbuds, you're being told that you're being chased by zombies. And you
No
step
way.
It up. Yeah, I haven't used it. I've seen like a video
you've
for
got
it.
to I'm going to have to listen to this and remind myself later to download that because I do use like Couch to 5K or Couch to 10K, those kinds of things where it says like run now. But if it said run now, there are zombies chasing you, that visual would just add a whole other level of play to it that would just be phenomenal.
So give us some other kind of concrete examples of how we can integrate play as part of a treatment package for ADHD.
So a lot of my clients have particular issues around work. And when you have ADHD, we can all become very serious. And again, it's about meeting the goals. I have to keep up with what everybody else is doing. I have to keep it in, do it in a timely manner. Obviously, there are external pressures that sometimes drive those goals as well. Your boss telling you have to get this done, you have to get it done this way, all those kinds of things. And so it can become very kind of oppressive. We end up working more hours because some of the organizational skills.
I know nothing about that.
Right, you do know. We all know. We're working longer hours. We are producing oftentimes, phenomenal quality work because we're brilliant, but the effort that it takes can be taxing and take a toll on our personal lives and on our energy just in general. And then at some point we burn out at work because it just becomes too much. And so finding ways to bring some playfulness into work, whether it's making sure to take some breaks that kind of feed that playfulness in you. So if it's, being social, making sure that you can call somebody who kind of knows how to have a fun conversation with you, or going to the water cooler and chatting. If it's taking a walk and listening to some of that music that really gets you going. I try and encourage people not to stay sitting at their desks if that's where they're working, and not going on social media because that's maybe interesting and fun. It doesn't really get those same chemicals going for us. So it's really finding ways to be playful during the day. And sometimes it's how you do something, because we get so in ruts about how we get tasks accomplished that we don't realize there's another way to do it that might be a little bit more interesting.
Can you give us an example of something?
Well, something really simple for me is I don't sit at a desk. I actually have a lot of different places where I work simply because I have a lot of different jobs because I don't like to be bored. And each one of them I've required that I have a standing desk. Well, if I'm standing up, I can move around more. That, to me, and I can have a little bit more fun. So, I can switch things up. And that, to me, sometimes is being playful, and sometimes there's some music going in the background when I'm working. So I'm not sitting bopping to the music while I'm working. I'm standing and maybe moving around a little bit. Sometimes it's using, colors.
I had this vision of you standing at this desk that on the floor is actually a small sand tray that you're just kind of squishing your feet in sand.
Oh my God. I actually had an idea that, I swore I wasn't going to go off on a tangent, but when I was in college, I really wanted to develop a sand rug where it would be, all this sand between these really dense plastic so it couldn't leak out, but so it would feel like you were standing on, almost like standing on a beanbag chair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a weighted blanket?
Yes.
It would be very similar to that, but maybe a little tighter.
Same idea.
Interesting.
So I actually have in my office one of the things that if I'm not standing at my desk, I actually do have beanbag chairs. I have Yogi Bo chairs in my office. And that's where I'm either stretching out or I'm sitting down because those just feel good. And they kind of make me happy when I sit in them. So that's another way to make things a little bit more playful. And then to me, one of the biggest things for me is working with another person. Right?
That's got to be huge. And I'm in my office. I share space with an occupational therapist.
Yep. But,
we don't have the chance to talk that often.
Yeah.
And it can be very isolating in private practice.
So you may have heard of having a body double.
Of course.
Right? So sometimes when I have work to get done and I have a friend of mine or a colleague who also has work to get done, maybe totally separate projects, but we agree to meet in the same space. We start off with a little chat and catch up on things. We time that. We can only have so much time. And then we get to work. And we have an agreement about how long we're going to work before we take a break. And then we check in with each other. Where are you? What are you working on? That conversation, even if it's only focused on what we're getting done,
also
to
has
me,
benefit.
it's a little bit of play for me. I just like chatting with people. And obviously, usually there's a little bit more to it than that. So, but just that social connection to me makes all the difference. And I can stay focused for the next half hour, 45 minutes.
Clearly, because there are presentations going on right now, and we're kind of ditching.
We are ditching them because we would rather talk than be talked at.
Yeah.
But that's also, I mean, I'm doing a presentation this afternoon. You're doing a presentation this afternoon. I've seen your presentations.
Wait, it's today?
Is it tomorrow?
Oh, I hope it's not today.
Tomorrow. I'm doing one today, though.
I just realized the talent show's tonight. I still haven't finished anything that I'm...
Well, I hope that you're going to do something because I'm going to be there tonight.
Awesome.
And so is my co-presenter, Mike Fidel. So
I talked to him.
He is oh my God. So I have this presentation that we're doing, Improv to Improve Your Life, which you might imagine might be a little bit fun if people are up for it. And I was going to do it on my own. And Mike contacted me and said, I wanted to do something with improv, and Evelyn said to contact you because you were already doing something. And so he said, can I do this with you? So now I've got a co-presenter, and we're just going to have so much fun.
What time is yours at?
4 o'clock. 4 o'clock. I'm very excited about it.
Very
so,
cool.
I mean, one of the things, if you come to these conferences, you know, is I never do the same thing twice. So this is going to be a whole new thing, and it's going to be all about getting up and moving and playing and interacting with one another.
Nice.
So, yeah, so I don't like being talked at for too long. I can only sustain my attention for so long, and then I'm the kid at the back of the classroom who wants to, chat and pass notes and now text, right? When we were in high school, I didn't have that. So this is like, ooh, I could text now instead of paying attention. I will say, sorry, Solden's keynote this morning was quite phenomenal. Oh my God, so hilarious. So, but yeah, I can only make it to so many of these presentations.
Yeah.
I'd rather talk with you.
And I think that that's one of the values of coming to these conferences is the connections that we make.
There's all kinds of ways to play.
So tell me something that you will either have done this conference so far or are planning on doing besides from your presentation that you're just going to knock it out of the park with play.
Oh God, usually I have a plan. My play right now is dressing up. So
and I'm looking at this feathery. It's like a pink and purple.
If you
hat.
go,
I'm sure there's a technical name for it besides hat.
It's called a fascinator.
A fascinator.
So it actually reminded me of something out of Dr. Seuss. Right? One of those trees out of doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Yep. So
it's got that funky angle to it. Yeah.
So it's these pink and purple feathers that are kind of built up into this treetop is what it looks like.
Because you needed to add a few more inches to
I did. And it blends in nicely with the purples that are in my hair right now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So if I think my brain is running out of gas right now.
Is it? More coffee?
Maybe. More Adderall, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe it hasn't kicked in yet. It's okay.
It's the 5 hours of sleep that's killing me right now.
So what are you looking forward to? Let me ask you that question.
I'm looking forward to the conversations that I'm having right now.
Yep.
So this was kind of a really exciting piece for me to, so about a month ago I got this new Zoom H6 recorder, and with the notion that I want to come talk to people.
Yeah.
Because that's part of what ADHD Rewired is, the direction that it's moving in. Because my first handful of episodes were kind of just me sharing strategies and talking, letting people get to know me. And then I started doing some interviews because I wanted to mix it up. And I just find it to be way more fun to be talking to
playing
people.
With other people is way more fun than playing with yourself. That's what Ava Green said to me one time.
I'm quoting that. It's going to be in my intros, my outros. I love it. I'm actually going to push my little marker button so I can see where. That's awesome. So what happens when you play with yourself for too long?
I think it gets a little bit boring because you can already anticipate what you might say or do, right? Whereas when you're playing with other people, there's the element of surprise, and you learn new things. You get to contemplate different perspectives on things, and
I have the sense of humor of a fifth grade boy.
No, you don't, Eric.
I might edit this part out.
The visuals are much more interesting.
You know the expression, if you eat a frog? Meaning, if you start your day with eating a frog, everything else will seem easy in comparison. Well, I just started listening to the book, Eat That Frog, 21 Great Ways to Stop Procrastinating and Get More Done in Less Time. Seems like a great book for us, right? And the best part was, it was free. If you've been intending on getting your free audiobook download at audibletrial.com/ADHD Rewired, and you just keep forgetting, try one of my favorite strategies. Remind me every day when I get home to go on my computer and sign in to audibletrial.com/ADHD Rewired.
Here's your reminder, starting tomorrow at 9 a.m. Shall I create it?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'll start reminding you.
That's audibletrial.com/ADHD Rewired. Is there anything else that we should know, including how could people find you and see the website that has like your clickable desk where like things fly around? And
right. So if you go to ADHD Executive Coach, that's my coaching site, and there's a desk on the top that's kind of fun. So it's got a bunch of little icons on it that kind of move around.
Fun.
Isn't that awesome? Yeah, that was designed for me, and I love it. I don't maintain that site as well as I maybe should, but now that
because
I've got a new site, Play ADHD, and so that's where a lot of the current information is too. So, but both of those you can find me on, and then of course on Facebook at Play ADHD.
Now you're doing a podcast, something.
So there are actually 16 episodes. They're video, and then if you go onto iTunes, they're also in audio. And that's something that's going to be built on in the future. Again, I've taken a little bit of a break from that. Mm-hmm. And I'm kind of reworking some things, and in the process of writing the book, Play ADHD.
Nice.
So
will it have like pop-ups?
Ideally that would be just lovely. Believe
financially.
Me. I know, right? I know. So I have a lot of things on my wish list for how that
first
book.
Page.
Maybe on the first page.
I want a credit in your book in the back somewhere for that.
Well, it's already in my list of like what I would like in this book. It's been reworked like 500 times. So
perfectionism?
No, not perfectionism. More creativity, because I've got a million ideas and each one's better than the next.
Oh, I can.
So right,
relate to that.
Right,
yes.
Exactly. So, thankfully, I've waited to put this whole thing together because originally it was going to be a little wordy. A little dense, a little boring. Mm-hmm. So, even on the topic of play, it was still just too much.
Books that had them words.
Right. So we're working now more on quality instead of quantity, delivering the message, giving people practical ideas, and inspiring them to be more playful. And giving them, as David Guerick would probably like credit for this, permission to play.
Awesome.
So, because it's a hard thing sometimes to do that. We're all working so hard to try and do our best, be our best, and we forget that play actually might bring that out on us.
So you guys heard it here from the doctor herself. You guys have permission to play.
In fact, if you ever see me, I'll give you a prescription to play.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Where can you get that filled?
At anywhere. You fill it yourself, and it's refillable.
Amazing.
Unlimited.
How much does it cost?
Nothing. It's free. I'll be eventually uploading that onto the website.
That is awesome. Dr. Kirsten.
He's going to do that over again. Do over.
No, I'm leaving it in. Imperfection is like I'm learning to.
Congratulations, you failed.
It's so hard. I've had episodes that I've spent like 12 hours editing, and it's absurd. And like hour 2, hour 3, I'm like, stop editing, Eric. Stop editing.
You're not going to have to edit a lot out of this one.
No,
it's going to be perfect.
Well, I can keep going on tangents. I'm going to stop it here. My breaks often fail, so I'm just going to end it here and say thank you.
Thank you, Eric.
Well, ADHD Rewired listeners, you have just listened to another episode of ADHD Rewired. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you listen on iTunes, Stitcher, or any other podcast player, make sure you click the subscribe button so you don't miss any of the upcoming episodes. Next week, you will hear my conversation with Mike Fidel.
Just the value really of being able to stop on a dime and change your direction. which I think is critical in a relationship. It's critical in improv, so the two fit together really well.
That will be next week. I want to ask you, if you have not done so already, please head over to iTunes or Stitcher and leave an honest rating and review. This truly makes a difference in who finds this show. It's really a powerful way that you can pay it forward. Thank you. You can also follow and share ADHD Rewired on SoundCloud. If you have any comments, feedback, or suggestions on what would make ADHD Rewired even better, please contact me through my website, ADHDrewired.com. Do you have an idea for a show topic, or maybe you'd like to be a guest on this show? Go to ADHDrewired.com and use the contact form on that page. I would also like to encourage you to not just be a passive listener, but become an active member of our growing online community. Like us on Facebook, but get involved in the community. I respond to most requests in 1 to 2 days. Again, I want to thank and congratulate everyone who registered for the ADHD Rewired Coaching and Accountability Group. We are completely full, but email me if you are interested in joining this group the next time I offer it. Or better yet, go to my website, ADHDrewired.com, to sign up for my email newsletter so you can get notification of any official announcements and get occasional installments of my Productivity 2.0 newsletter, where I provide additional tips and strategies to help you get more done. Now, as promised, my improvisational performance on the piano at the 2014 ADA Talent Show. And even though I played solo,
Playing with other people is way more fun than playing with yourself.
enjoy.
This is Mr. Eric Tivers. He's a therapist. He's a coach. And I understand, Eric, you're going to do an improvisation. Is that correct?
That's the positive side of I didn't plan anything.
Okay.
I have zero idea what I'm actually about to do.
Okay, and you're from Lowell, Illinois.
Lowell, Illinois.
Okay. Well, this is Eric Tivers.
How do I keep it to the piano mode?
Different what?
Thank you. Should have thought of that. I'm pushing some buttons now. House piano? Something. just begun.
Eric Taylor's improvisation. The new Keith Jarrett.